What is going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Panthers Advice. Today, man, we got a lot to talk about. On top of that, don't forget tomorrow night coming out with the first mock draft. But today, man, what are we talking about? We're talking about a new Carolina Panther calling out his former team, and that team was in the Super Bowl, won the Super Bowl a couple of years ago. So it's interesting he's calling them out, saying he wasn't used right, which could explain a certain narrative behind him. We're going to talk about Steve Smith, his receiver rankings. Do I agree? Do I not agree? Might shock you on that one. And the Panthers are being linked to another edge rusher, but it's not Jaylon Walker, but it is from Georgia, man. Let's get into the video. So first up, we're going to talk about Steve Smith. He doesn't see the top receiver prospect as the top receiver prospect. He says in quotes right here, he's the #1 ranked receiver, but he's not the #1 receiver. All right. I think he's a jump ball guy, but I don't see his route tree being very elaborate. Now, this is interesting right here. Because with Steve Smith, I go back and forth on him, right? He's a Panthers great all time, but the last time we heard from him was Mingo before the draft. And then we heard from him last year saying he was working with Mingo, and we kind of saw how that turned out. Now, you can't put Mingo completely on Steve Smith, but when Steve Smith suggests a receiver, now I'm like, ooh, I don't really know what to do here. Now, even with me saying all that about Steve Smith, I do kind of agree with him when it comes to Ted. All right, it felt like in the offense he played in and the defense he's played against, he was definitely more of a jump ball guy. And that was a common thing with this receiver class if you look at the highlights. A lot of these guys are playmakers with speed. You don't see them ever beating the press in and out and then vice versa, right? There's one guy I like a lot, though. But as far as this receiver class, it was kind of just, they've got speed. They're playmakers with the ball in their hands. Ted is one of the ones with the jump ball, though, like Steve Smith says. But I don't know that he's the #1 guy, right? Let me know your thoughts, all right? Steve Smith is going to give his top 5 here in a second. Actually, a top 10. But I got to say, as far as the #1 receiver, I don't know that Ted is that guy. So you got Matthew Golden out of Texas, obviously a playmaker. You got Emeka right there, Luther Burden, and Jalen Royals out of Utah State. Definitely a great top 5. The other thing to think about when it comes to a #1 receiver is this right here. You want them to want to put their best DB on you every single time. And on top of that, sometimes you want them to also basically kind of shadow a safety towards your side too, right? And that's why we get so frustrated with J.C. Horn and Mykel Williams kind of playing the left and the right. Why is J.C. Horn not on the best receiver, right? So that's something to think about when you talk about #1 receivers. You want them to garner the best cornerback on that team and the safety as well. Or if they don't do it, you know that they're going to take off and have a hell of a game. Kind of like some receivers did against the Panthers. But, that's a whole nother story for another day. Let's talk about who do I like on this list right here. Now, obviously, they're nice. Matthew, playmaker, Bond has stupid speed. McMillan, jump ball guy like Smith said. But there's one guy I really like in particular, all right? And that's Luther Burden right here. And that was what? On Steve Smith, that was what, #4 for him? #3? Let me take a look real quick. You're going to see this was #4 for him. Now, why do I like Luther? Kind of like what I said before. Everybody else, they did a good job beating their guy in coverage. But Luther, he beats his guy in coverage. I'll run past them. But he's also right here getting jet sweeps too, right? Making guys miss. To me, he's a mix of Ayuk and Debo, just without Debo's size, to be honest with you. That's how I view this guy right here. All right, Luther is probably my favorite receiver in this draft. He's got that track speed, but he also can run routes, right? Acceleration is crazy. And then you're going to see our last play right here. All right, Luther acting like he wants the ball right here. He's going to turn that thing up a little out and up, as you're going to see. Bang, got him right over the top. So Luther Burden is honestly my favorite receiver in this draft. They're all playmakers, but as far as the complete package, this is where I'm putting my money on. Let's keep it going. Next up is Mykel Williams, man. Let's talk about this real quick. Carolina has been linked to Mykel Williams a lot lately. Joe P. from The Athletic added his name to the growing list of reporters who believe Williams is firmly in play, as well as Tony P. from Sportskeeda. Now, they talk about the Panthers sent a bunch of people to Georgia's pro day. I mean, let's be honest real quick. Georgia has been producing stupid defensive talent these past 5 years, especially that front seven. I mean, why would you not send your whole scouting team, front office to go see Georgia's pro day? It just makes sense. So, yes, I get what this article is saying, but I mean, if you're not sending your people there, you might want to get rid of them. Let's talk about this a little bit more real quick. So as the article continues, they talk about, Mykel Williams, 14 sacks in 3 seasons. Now, it would go on to say basically, Carolina doesn't really view numbers as well as potential. And this is why I always bring up what's in your bag, right? And are you coachable? They talk about Williams' size, explosiveness, the power at the point of attack represents a solid foundation from which to build. And that all sounds good as long as you're willing to be taught. And we've got a lot of guys who in that front seven are pretty good, whether it's Clowney, Derek Brown, Bobby Brown, Patrick Jones, DJ Wanham, all have been pretty good in the NFL. So even if they feel like, Mykel Williams, he's our guy, but he doesn't know enough, look who we already have on the team. Now, with that being said, obviously, man, it's a touchy subject on who to draft, okay? Because if you look right here, we've got Clowney, we've got DJ Wanham, we've got Patrick Jones. Now, there's a reason I don't love this article and what they say right here about Clowney, Wanham, and Patrick Jones. They're not really playing the same position, okay? So let's talk about this real quick again. Jaylon Walker on our left, 6'2", give or take. Mykel Williams, 6'5". 2 different linebackers. Okay, I can't stress that enough. 2 different linebackers. If we want the pass rush, we're going over here towards Jaylon Walker. If we want somebody to back up Clowney, strong side pass rush, but also set the edge, stop letting big runs happen, we're going to go over here. All right, he's going to back up Clowney. So Clowney's going to come in more fresh. Mykel's going to learn from him. Win-win. Now, who do I want out of these 2? I want Jaylon Walker, but I wouldn't be mad if they went towards Mykel Williams. So with all that being said, you never know what's true with these articles. Sometimes it's true, right? That's why people are reporting it. Sometimes it's a narrative to try and make your way towards something else. So with that being said, man, I like Jaylon Walker, but let's keep it going. Our last story of the video is this right here, man. Former Kansas City Chief who just left claims Kansas City misused him during his tenure. Now, this is interesting, all right? Former Chiefs defensive tackle Tershawn was a major departure this offseason after signing a 3-year, $45 million contract with the Carolina Panthers last month, all right? The 26-year-old used a breakout 2024 campaign where he registered a career-high 6.5 sacks to get his big payday. But he also believes there's more to come after the Chiefs didn't use him properly over not the past 1, 2, 3, but 4, 5 seasons? Damn. So since he was 21, he felt like he's been being misused by the Kansas City Chiefs, man. Now let's talk about what that means, all right? So what are we talking with all this with Tershawn Wharton and not being used, right? He didn't like kind of playing over the center, right? He didn't like being the nose tackle, whether he's shading the center, whatever it may be. He didn't like playing inside. He felt like he's more of a 3-tech, okay? But the Chiefs have Chris Jones, so basically they were using Wharton to kind of play the nose tackle-esque, right? And then Pro Football Focus obviously posted this here, and I know some people have ran with this a lot, all right? In 2022, 51.5 run defense, all right? Then 46.9 and 48.3 over the past 2 seasons. So let's talk about the numbers real quick. The numbers can be so misleading because you're getting that grade, but based on what position you played. Obviously, the Panthers are not going to play him as the nose tackle, right? The Panthers are going to play him as a 3-tech a majority of the time. So everyone's kind of losing their mind about Tershawn Wharton. You know, he's not good against the run. Well, let's look at some film real quick. Stop believing everything you see online. You know, we got to do some research, and that's what this channel is, okay? Yes, we've started to kind of cater more towards news segments, breaking news, but we're always going to have something to back up what we're saying. So if I believe something, all right, I'm going to have some film to tell you why I believe it, and that's what we're going to do today. So first up, I guess not first, but last, is our film study. Now, this was in the Super Bowl because, like everyone says, you're as good as your last game. Now, here's the thing with the Super Bowl. NFL completely monetizes all of it, so it's harder to get anything without it being, copyrighted. So we're going to see about 2 seconds. So when the ball snapped to bang, point of impact, what happens to Tershawn Wharton against the Eagles? And honestly, there's not really a better team to use film against than arguably the team with the best running back in the NFL and probably the best rushing offensive line as well. So let's take a look what happens. First play right here, we're going to see a little zone read with Jalen Hurts. You're going to have Tershawn Wharton right here. And this is what he doesn't like. He doesn't like playing the shade, all right, over the nose tackle. He wants to be over here where Chris Jones is. However, Chris Jones got that fat paycheck, so he gets to choose where he wants to line up. You see where Tershawn is right here. He's going to get double teamed between the center and the guard. Take a look what happens. Like I said, first 2 seconds. Okay. He gets beat right there, right? You allow the right guard right there to work double team, pick up Bolton. Okay, that hole's pretty big. What you're going to notice with Wharton, or what I've noticed, again, just off the few clips I've watched, is Wharton is a pass rushing defensive end. Pass rushing defensive end, okay, you're not immediately crashing in. Like a nose tackle, he would immediately crash the center, create havoc, make the quarterback go left or right. With a pass rushing end, it's patience. I'm seeing the offensive lineman. Where's his hands go? Do I swipe? Do I rip? Do I swim? Now, that's okay if you're going against a lineman who's pass blocking, right? Because they're not trying to push you off your base, right? They're going to sit there in their own base. So you can kind of maneuver this and this and this, right? Now, if you're going against a lineman who's run blocking, if you got your balance out here and par back here, and they're coming full speed at you, you're going to get driven off the spot every time. And if you watch Tershawn in these few plays we're going to look at, you can kind of see that happening. Let's take a look at play number 2 right here. This one I go back and forth on because you see the hole, right? I mean, you see both holes. Now, Spags, all right, their defensive coach, shut down Barkley. Now, maybe this was the plan. All right, you bring Tershawn over here, you create a wall. So now Barkley has to choose one-on-one with Bolton or one-on-one with Drew right there. Potentially the plan. How does Tershawn do, though? Let's run it back real quick and take a look at this. So as you take a look right here, ball snap. And I want you to watch the other linemen real quick, all right? You see they're kind of in control as far as the defensive linemen. I feel like Tershawn is the only one who's still kind of working against the run, all right? But if you take a look right at the very end, you're actually going to see him rip through, right, swim move over the top. So even though he gets beat off the rip, bang, he's right there over it. So take a look at that one more time, all right? Gets beat right there, and like I said before, all right, he's going to lose the battle against the run when he's lined up over the nose tackle, but watch how he recovers. Take a look at this right here. He's ripping through over the top. It's going to force Barkley to basically run into him and Bolton or basically go right towards Drew, man. Good stuff right there. Next play we're going to look at, once again, look where he's lined up. Essentially out of position, right? Take a look what happens right here. Woo! You see the difference? Run that back real quick. This was a pass rush. I wanted to throw one in there. All right, I wanted to throw one. Run this back real quick. Take a look at this. Ball snapped. He's going left. Look at the inside arm of the guard right there. That's going inside like this. So you see the guard's inside arm. It does this, right? It's going inside to pick up Tershawn. Tershawn with that double swipe. Can't really double swipe myself, but you get where I'm going. So you're going to see double swipe right here. Bang. And he's in the backfield. You see what I'm saying? Against the pass, he's balanced. He's kind of reading the guard. If the guard does this, I'm going to do this. Against the run, it's a little bit different, but you see how deadly he is in the pass rush, man. Let's keep it going. You're going to see right here, center's going to snap in. All right, work down to pick up Tershawn. And here's the thing with Tershawn. If the guard, tackle, or center doesn't get a good grip on him, and by grip, you know what I'm referencing, right? If they don't get a good grip on him as far as hand placement, he's going to push them back. This dude is as strong as they come. That's what I love about him. So the other thing I love is he's telling you straight up, I don't play good. That's not my strong suit. That's not how I operate. So if they line him up over the center, we know what to expect this year. We're like, Avira, we've seen the film. All right, Panthers advice shows the film. He struggles. Stop putting him there. Stay with me real quick. We have a couple more plays left. All right, right here you got Tershawn getting double teamed. He's getting beat once again against the run. But watch what happens at the last second. He's going to rip through, and look at that. So even though he gets beat against the run sometimes, He's not giving up. You see another rip through, and look at this. He's right there in the middle with Barkley. But here's what I like about Tershawn. Even though he struggles against the run, he understands he has a weakness. But once again, you're seeing him rip through right over the top, right? So even though he has a weakness, he understands how to make up for it. He's going to bring the lineman close to him, bang, right over the top, and he's right there. And our last play right here, Tershawn, bang. This is exactly what I was telling you what he just did. Run that back real quick. Steve Smith, we've already talked about you. But watch right here. All right, watch that lineman, bang, grab him, pull him, right, and then we're right there. That's what he does. So when he gets beat against the run, the lineman gets close to him, he's going to grab him, pull him, and he's running right by him. I'm happy. All right, I'm happy, and here's why. Here's why I'm happy. It's a great day, all right? March Madness is here. But you got Bobby Brown in the middle, you got Derek Brown, and you got Wharton, okay? And you can kind of mix and match other players in there if you want. Bobby Brown is going to take up a double team every now and then, whether it's Tershawn's side or it's Derek Brown's side, which means you're giving them a one-on-one. And if you're giving them a one-on-one, that means a linebacker outside of them is potentially coming in free, going against the tight end. This defense may shock you. Against the run, I worry a little bit. I think we need inside linebacker help, to be honest with you. But this defense, it may shock you. I'm not going to lie to you. All right, so with that being said, that's going to wrap it up. Panthers have ices out. I'll catch you guys on the next one. Mock draft coming tomorrow. Stay tuned for that. Peace.